B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. This Dvar Torah is dedicated for the refuah shlema of Rafael ben Farhang. Please pray for him. This week's Parsha is Parshat Tetzaveh, but we're going to talk about ZACHOR, the most important Torah reading, and the only time during the year that we have to listen to Torah as one of the 613 commandments. Basically, the most evil nation in the world is AMALEK. And since next week is Purim, we must never forget the nation of Haman, Ha'agagi, is the first nation that attacked the Jews, and they're the embodiment of evil. And one of the first things when Mashiach comes is we're going to eradicate them, wipe them off the face of the earth. And the Torah in the end of Devarim, Ki Tetzeh, says, Zachor et asher asa lacha Amalek. You must never forget, always remember what Amalek has done, because the Jews were untouchable. We were literally, everybody was totally, we were off limits. Nobody would dare mess with us. But Amalek came and attacked us, and therefore opened the path for people to always use the Jew as the scapegoat and try to attack and harm us. So therefore, I saw a Rashi which is totally mind-boggling. Why does Amalek come and attack us? If you look in the Torah, right before this, in chapter 25 of the 5th book of the Torah, Ki Tetzeh, Parsha Ki Tetzeh, Pasuk 13 till 16, the Torah says we must have accurate measurements. If, God forbid, a Jew tries to engage in fraudulent activity by using deceitful measurements, where, for example, a customer, you charge him for 5 pounds, but really you only sold him 3 pounds, because at the bottom of the weight you put some magnet or some wax. The Torah says this is an abomination. Right after this, the Torah talks about Amalek attacking us. So Rashi says, why does Amalek come? Because we Jews are dishonest in business. So I was giving a Torah class this week on Tuesday night, and one of my congregants asked me, if we look in Parshat Beshalach, the Torah says no. It's because we didn't have proper emunah, right? Rashi brings over there, the reason why Amalek attacks us is because we ask ourselves, we question whether God is protecting us and He's in our midst or not. So the question is, which one is it? Does Amalek attack us because we're dishonest in business? Or does Amalek attack us because we have a lack of faith? The answer is Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim Chaim. My Rosh Hashiva, Zichronon Livracha, Harav Shmuel Yaakov Weinberg, always used to talk about this idea of how important it is to be honest in business. Why is it such a terrible crime to be fraudulent in business? And this is such a terrible, horrible consequence that Amalek is going to come, the most evil Nazi-like, which the Nazis were also. Hitler was also from Amalek. Anybody that wants to annihilate all the Jews in the world for no rhyme and reason is Amalek. And the answer is that if God, shouldn't we work on Shabbat? Why shouldn't we be dishonest? Why should we have an impeccable integrity of being extraordinarily honest? Because if God is sending your money, you just have to try your best. But the blessing comes from Hashem. So why would, by being deceitful and having broken measurements which you misuse and mischarge your customers, obviously you don't believe that God is sending your parnasa, your money, your livelihood. You think you're doing it. That's the same lack of emunah. That's why the first question that God asks us is what? Nasata v'ne'atata v'emunah. After a person passes away after 120 years, the first question God asks you is, were you honest in business or not? Why is that so important? Because the telltale sign, whether you believe in God or not, when push comes to shove, is whether you're honest in business. If you believe God is sending your livelihood, then why would you want to take shortcuts and be deceitful and be dishonest? Obviously, you don't believe God is sending it to you. That's why you work on Shabbat. That's why you engage in fraudulent activity and abuse and rip off your customers. So may Hashem help us always to realize, as ma harikat as choda barikat. We can try our best, but ultimately, poteach et yadecha maspil alecha. All the blessing comes from God. So when we are extraordinarily careful not to engage in fraudulent activity and being honest, that's what brings blessing. And may Hashem bring Mashiach so we could finally get rid of all the darkness of Amalek and see the light of Le Yehudim Haita Ora V'Simcha V'Sason Ve'ikar. Happy Shabbat and happy Purim. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day.